I was sitting in a consultation and my client was there, and it was a man from Nigeria. We were sitting adjacent to each other, and while we're sitting there, within the first 3 to 5 minutes, he looks at me and he says, "In my country, you would not be helping me. Women stay at home. You will be of no help to me." 30 minutes later, as he's walking out, he says, "You were very helpful to me. I will be back. I appreciate your help." Somewhere within that time frame of 30 minutes, he trusted me. For the purpose of this, it is important to realize that every semester, thousands of students come into the University Speaking Center. They're seeking help from peer educators on speaking-related work. In consultations, it is a face-to-face interaction. We, and when I say we, I am speaking of consultants, sit with clients who are students, faculty, grad students, you name it, and we help them. And we help with anything from brainstorming to help with delivery. It is important to note, though, that we will never write their speech for them. Rather, we help with them by living out our mission of helping them become more confident and competent communicators. I'm going to stop here to create a segue for you, just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm speaking of. At UNCG, we have 17,000 students. We make up over 40 states and represent over 70 countries. That does make us one of the most diverse schools in the UNC system. Keeping this in mind, more times than not, when clients come in, they are of a different ethnicity, race, and gender than the consultants helping them. Now, this is where my research came in. Working there for 4 years, it always boggled my mind. Why do they trust us? The Nigerian man, why would he trust me? If women usually don't help him, why would he listen to me? What can I do in 30 minutes to create trust? So that's where I came up with my research question, which was, how is trust created within consultations such that consultants can do their job, clients receive the help that they're seeking, all while surrounded with communication barriers? I felt that this was an essential research question and something that needed to be answered because it was clearly a gap. It was something that needed to be filled, and instead of using this as a limitation, I used it as stepping stones to create my research. So I filled the gap with my research. I picked out 5 particular research concepts. So my key concepts that I used were trust, credibility, empathy, listening, and peer educators. I answered my question by using one particular methodology, which was that of questionnaires. Receiving questionnaires were consultants at the University Speaking Center, past consultants, consultants from the National Association of Communication Centers, and not to mention current clients. On the questionnaires, there were open-ended questions, and the questions varied. So for example, for clients receiving the questionnaire, it may say something like, were communication barriers present? If so, tell us about them. For consultants, it varied. Theirs were, what happens when communication barriers do arise? When you do have a student who comes in from another country who clearly isn't that welcoming of your help, what do you do? Overwhelmingly, I had a 71% response rate. And from this, as you can imagine, it led to very interesting results. For one, there was a direct correlation between consultant and client expectation. Consultants, they were always aware of the diversity. They also had ethical awareness, client willingness to be present, and they also noted those who are unwelcoming to feedback. As far as clients, they just fear the unknown. What do they expect? What is their consultant thinking? What kind of speaker does their consultant think they really are? Across the board, there was an immense pattern that emerged, and that was, the pattern was a desire for empathy. Consultants showed this through storytelling. Clients liked it when they could sit there and say, I have no idea what an attention getter is, I don't know how to use it. And when in response, a consultant could say, a few weeks ago I actually gave a presentation and I forgot what they were too, so I definitely understand, but some examples of them may be quotes, statistics, here's some, so don't worry about it. But keep in mind they're not limited to that. Clients love that because that was a way of showing empathy. They realized that their consultant had been in their shoes before. Based on the observations and patterns observed, I noted that the presence or absence of communication barriers in consultations is the determining factor of whether trust is established. So you may be wondering, what now? Well, based on the responses from the participants, I formulated 3 specific recommendations to ensure that trust is created within consultations. Number one, affirmation. This better comforts our clients. What do I mean by affirmation? This is smiling when they're talking, nodding your head, or even taking notes. Number two, that of empathy. This almost always needs to be present. So anything from storytelling to just a simple sentence by saying, I understand what you mean. And last but not least, credibility. This goes more than a title by saying I'm a senior consultant at the University Speaking Center. This credibility goes into me actually having a genuine interest in my clients. Also, embracing the diversity around me, and also basically putting myself in my client's shoes. Looking back over my research, it really made me reflect on the way I establish trust within my clients. I show empathy, I use storytelling, and I exude confidence. So maybe that's why my Nigerian client decided to trust me. Thank you.